Good afternoon, one and all present here. We have amongst us Ms.Manila Carvalho, who, with teaching us as a passion, has journeyed 30 years as an educationist. She is the founder principal of DPS Bangalore East. She is a postgraduate in education and psychology, as well as a qualified special educator. She is currently a research scholar with Annamalai University and is researching on her thesis titled The Effect of Academic Adjustment and Parental Pressure on the Mental Health of Senior Secondary Students. She has also been featured on many of the regional TV channels as an educationist and women achiever, and has contributed many articles to various journals and newspapers. Currently, she holds the position of a chairperson for Bangalore Sahodaya Schools Complex. It's a pleasure having you here, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Priya, for that introduction. Hello, everyone. I hope you got sufficient time to have your lunch and the session was extended. Of course, in the afternoon, it is a little tough to be, focusing on the sessions, but let's make it interesting for all of you. Couple of days back, I got a call from my neighbor. She said, would you make some time to talk to my daughter? I said, what happened? No, of late I find her, she's very vague. She gets agitated. She doesn't eat properly, gets angry very often. Having dealt with the adolescents for a couple of years now, I realized that I need to look into this matter quickly. So I landed up in their house the same evening, and I saw the child sitting in the bedroom and she was scribbling something in a book. She is a 13-year-old child in standard 9, just getting into a 9th standard, and a good child. She's an excellent singer and well-behaved child. I happened to start conversing with her. Now, to make the story short, at the end of the conversation, I realized that she had recorded a video of her song and she posted on the Facebook. Apparently, she got very less likes and some of her friends also commented very negatively. This has disturbed the girl so much. She was not able to handle the situation. Yes, many of the adolescents do undergo this kind of stressful life during this stage. All the human beings who are born in this world are undergoing various types of stresses, especially during the adolescent age. You and I also have gone through the similar phase at one time. Now, I want you all to paint a picture of yourself in the classroom. You have joined as a teacher, maybe to teach in the kindergarten classroom or primary classroom, middle school or senior school. You may be having 1 year of experience or 5 years experience, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 years of experience. Now picture yourself those students whom you have dealt with those days and compare them with the students of the current class. Do you find the difference? If yes, I'm not talking about the hairstyle difference, but you have to observe your students very carefully. If you have found a difference, I want you all to come on to your chat box and type it there. What difference have you found out in these two age groups? The age of students whom you have dealt initially and the current group of students whom you are dealing now. What is the difference that you have found? You can come on the chat box and type it in. Your response: restlessness. Yes, Mangala, you have written restlessness. Somebody's writing bold, attitude, impatient, their behavioral problems, adamant, they want freedom, they're confused, inability to handle the situation, they become more sensitive, outspoken, moody, rebelling nature, curious, confident, aggressive, hyperactive, talkative, not ready to listen, change in technology, proactive, very attentive, lazy, jolly way of teaching. Excellent. Thank you so much for your overwhelming response. Thank you so much. Yes. Now we have definitely seen the change in our students as they move from this particular year to this particular year. Now what happens? This is the most crucial stage in the development of human growth. Every stage is equally important, but adolescent age is something that we need to really focus upon if we want a future generation to be safe. Now let me share with you my PPT here. Just give me a moment. You can see my PPT, Priya?
Yes, ma'am. We can see, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So welcome back to the session on assisting adolescents during turbulent times. Now, I mentioned to you, this is the most crucial stage for every adolescent. Let us understand, what does adolescence mean? Adolescence is the period of transition between childhood and adulthood. It includes some big changes to the body, the way a young person relates to the world. The many physical, sexual, cognitive, social, and emotional changes that happen during this time can bring eagerness and anxiety for both children and their families. The adolescent age is divided into three main stages. We have early adolescence, middle adolescence, and late adolescence. Let us focus upon early adolescence. Now, this age ranges from when the child is 10 years old to 13 years old. Now, during this stage, children begin to notice body changes. They observe hair growth under the arms, near the genitals, breast development begins in females, and enlargement of testicles in males. These body changes can inspire curiosity and anxiety in some, especially if they do not know what to expect or what is normal. Therefore, it is essential to explain to the children the physical changes that happen to them before they step into puberty. Many parents, they hesitate at times to explain these changes, but as teachers, we must not miss on this opportunity. Sometimes related topics do appear while teaching chapters, but some of the teachers skip this and they give a vague explanation and proceed. If you are not able to do so, please reach out to your counselors or doctors, because nowadays there is no dearth of getting information to the children. At a click of a button, they get a lot of information about puberty, but that is just in a soft copy. But if a teacher or a parent explain to the child, that becomes more meaningful for the children because they can clarify the doubt face to face. And as teachers, we shouldn't hesitate at a given time to shy away in explaining to these children. Age appropriate explanation needs to be given to that particular age. Many a times back home also there is no explanation. School side also there is no explanation. What will happen to the child? Changes in the body may give a rude shock and the child will not be able to handle these things. You have every year health checkup happens. Call those doctors, put the girls separate, boys separate, have some session for them. So that will enable children to understand the situation, understand the changes in the body, what they happens in a much better way. Early adolescents, they have concrete black and white thinking. It's called egocentrism. As a part of this, the pre-teens or the early teens are often self-conscious about their appearance and appearance, about how they feel and how they are always being judged by the other peers. They think always others are looking at them and judging them. For them, things are either right or wrong, either they're great or terrible, without much room in between. They do not have any patience at this time to listen to any kind of explanation. For example, the black and white thinking could be, you have heard many times children saying, hey, everybody hates me, yaar. Or they say, my mom is wrong all the time. Or they'll say, my dad won't let me do these things. Or my family is so weird, yaar. I hate my sister. So these are some of the things children do express during this stage. During this time, they feel an increased need of privacy. They may start to explore ways of being independent from their family. For example, they want to buy their own choice of clothes. They want to have the particular brand of shoes and things like that. At times, your own children will, ask you to dress up in one particular way. Earlier, they don't even bother. After that, they will tell you, okay, if you're coming to me, first of all, they don't like parents coming to school at this time. If any mother and father is coming, they will tell first what are you going to wear, how are you going to dress up and come, because they know other children are also watching you. That's the main reason. They expect you to come the way they want to, them to see yourself in the school. Next, we'll move on to the middle adolescence. This is 14 to 17 years, a very crucial stage. Now, this time, the changes that happens during the puberty, it keeps continuing during this middle adolescence. Most males, they have started their growth spurt and puberty related changes continue. They may have, voice cracking, they will have, the bass kind of a voice. And sometimes, we get to hear children singing at this particular age and this sounds so awkward because it doesn't sound so melodious. That is why, we do not like children singing, especially when the voice is cracked. Some develop acne, the pimples on the face, and they try to do, apply different type of creams to remove those pimples so that they look handsome and beautiful for the others. But at this time, you must also guide the children appropriately because every different type of creams will not suit them. There are chemicals which are put in the cream may spoil or damage their skin. So we need to do regular counseling to the children, make them understand why we are saying not to apply different type of creams, just remove the scars, because some of the scars will be permanent on their face. So we must talk to them and explain to them. Maybe, you can tell them put milk cream, or that will soothe you, or oil, eucalyptus, or not eucalyptus, olive oil or vitamin E oil, something to apply so that it will help them to reduce the pimples. Or drink a lot of water, not to eat pungent food. These are some of the guidelines if you give them, and you win over them, because after all, these children want the scars to go away from the face, and they will definitely listen to you. And similarly, at this age, the teens become interested in romantic and sexual relationship. What happens? You must have seen the children in your classrooms. Now, up to standard 5, they don't mind sitting with the girls, boys sitting with the girls, and girls sitting with the boys. They don't mind sitting anywhere. And they do not have that hatred feeling. But as they move to, 5th, 6th, 7th, gradually, they don't like to sit with their opposite sex. Boys will form their own groups. Girls will form their own groups. Playing their separate. Of course, they will speak here and there, but not that kind of an intimacy. Even in the classroom, they want to sit separately with the boys. So there is no mixed group in the classroom unless another teacher shouts and makes them sit. But they prefer sex. And during, many adolescents arguments with their parents has a struggle for independence, because the 14 to 17 years is the most disturbing age for children, because neither they are small nor they are, big. There is a lot of disturbance that happens at that age. So this middle adolescents, they end up arguments not only with their parents. Sometimes you have experienced they arguing with the teachers. They do not like the comments that are passed by the teachers. And in retaliation, we also behave like that as teachers in the classroom without realizing that the child is in the adolescent age, and that is normal for the child to behave. But when these things happen in your classrooms, please don't reprimand the child immediately. to the child, okay, let us deal with it later. We'll speak to the later. At least you being as an adult, you have to bring down your ego and deal with the child immediately at that stage. But many a times we as teachers do not like any student speaking loudly to us in the classroom. But remember, the adolescent age must be doing that, but may not be child who is consciously feeling and speaking about it. So do be little conscious about this incident that happens in your classroom. And, during this stage, they want to spend, they go out with the friends and they want to spend a lot of time with their, classmates and things like that. Now, these days, there is a trend, often called something called sleepovers. I do not understand why there is no place in your house to sleep. You're sending a child to sleep, somebody else's house, which I feel is something, we must stop it. I'll give you an incident, what happened a couple of months back. They went for sleepover, and this child is in high school. And see, when they go for sleepovers, the parents will not sit with the children to watch them what they are doing. At particular time, of course, the parent will wind up and go back. They go back to their rooms to sleep. These children, they were forced to children who they came together for sleepover. They decided to take their bikes and go for a drive. Now, 14 to 17 years, they do not have the license. Okay, they may not be so steady with their driving. Just to have a fun, they take two bikes, two of them, go for a drive at night after 1 o'clock. Now, when they go for this fun drive, they don't realize the speed that they take. And they came onto this nice road, late night, lot of traffic, and they zoomed so badly. One of the bikes hit the divider, and the children met with an accident, and both of them died on the spot. Now, the situation which was created to have fun, the sleepover situation, has turned into a tragedy place. Are we bringing up these children to see those days? Let us ponder over. I'm not even talking about the senior children, even the little children. Why to allow them to go and sleep over? It is not a good habit that we are developing in children. Whatever time may be, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, leave the children. Make sure you go and pick up your child and bring the child back to your own house. Do not encourage the sleepover with anybody, not even to your relative's house. It is always nice the child is with the parents. We'll move on to the next one. Late adolescence. This is the age between 18 to 21 years. Now, late adolescents generally have completed physical development, and they have completely grown, the height also is fully grown. Now you can see the children would have put on a lot of weight during this time. They look very handsome, they look very pretty, because even when they present themselves, they present it so beautifully, you always feel like looking at them. They usually have more control over their behavior and emotions by now, and maybe better able to gauge risks and reward accurately. But you can also think, some of the children whom you're handling in the classes at this age, they are also become very adamant. But remember, some of the habit formation, what we see at this age, in the adolescent age, when the child is 18 and 12, that is formed when the child is in the childhood. Sometimes what happened, child at the age of 18 comes home, throws his bag in one place, throws his chappals in another place, and then walks into the house without washing his legs or washing his feet. And you as a parent watch this and say, what are you doing? You shout at the child, why don't you keep the things in your proper place? Have you washed your hands? Have you washed your legs? First and foremost, you must ask yourself whether you have formed this habit in your child in the childhood. Have you taught this habit formation at the younger age? If you have not done and you're expecting the child to do when he's an adolescent, this will not happen. Therefore, we as parents, we as teachers must instill the habit formation in children when they are small. Teach them how to manage their bed, to do the bed in the morning, how to keep their bag and keep the things ready, where to place their shoes in the evening when they come, how to wash their hands and legs, how to respect the elders, how to do, stand in front of God in the morning and thanking God for the beautiful night that he has given and asking God's blessings for the beautiful day ahead. Do this small habit formation when the children are young. This will go in a long way in shaping the personality of the children. Now you find some of the children at the age of 18, 21, so disobedient, they don't want to listen to the parents. We, get to hear from parents, ma'am, my son doesn't listen to me, please talk to the child and make him understand. I think it is not our duty at the age of 18 to teach the child how to behave. The child will not listen. It is too late for the child to behave like to correct his mistakes. These needs to be corrected at the young age. Teach the children to get up at the right time. Teach the children to go to bed at the right moment, and to make them realize the importance of time. Now they will also become, they will be, during this period, they'll be stronger in their sense of their own individuality. They can identify because of their values, their friendship and romantic relationships become more stable. They would like to spend, more time with the girls or boys that they love the most. They will start dating and try to spend more time in person with them, spend more time over the phone. And, they sometimes they have fixed, these days you must be having, your children must be having fixed time where they come on chat and discuss. These are the part of their, stages of growth. And they become more emotionally and physically separated from their family, because this is the time they don't like to cling on to the father and mother. When they are small, 4, 5, 6 year old or 4th and 5th standard, they come and hug you, cuddle you. But as the child grows, they do not want to do that. Neither they expect the mother and father, they don't like you cuddling them, kissing them all the time when they are adolescents, because that is not as expected, but a respect that needs to be given to the children. Let us discuss now some of the common turbulences the adolescents face during that time. Physical turbulence. Of course, we have discussed just now the body changes that happens, the physical growth that takes place in the children, what happens to them if you are not prepared them to face these changes. The transition from childhood to adulthood, when the adolescent experiences a wide variety of physical changes, there is a lot of secretion of hormones. There is also new connection in the brain that develops, and this triggers the hormonal secretion. And when the child gets matured, both mentally and physically, these hormonal imbalance make the children behave in a different way. Now, these changes can be confusing or unexpected and can cause more sensitive or emotional reactions. Sometimes they get angry, they get frustrated, they will get into arguments, and they will physical fight. Anywhere there is a fighting, our students are ready to go and join, especially the boys. They don't know what is the cause for the fight. If they see somebody hitting each other, they will also go and fight. You must have seen in the classes, in the schools, what happened during the breaks. That's the best time where they want to, take a panja with somebody else. They gather together and they instigate one person to fight with another, and they start their fighting. So what happened in the schools, we have monitors even during the lunch break and short break, long break, everywhere teachers are there to monitor so that the things will not go in a wrong direction. So they will get into arguments with small reasons, and they also get very angry when somebody passes comments. They do not want to take it, even if the comment is not pointedly made out to them. If somebody makes a point, even when they pass, they consider that is a personal comment and behave very rudely. They focus more on their appearance, and during this stage they want to look good, they want to look charming. So many of them join the gym and try to build their muscles, and their wardrobe changes, and they wanted branded things for themselves. And they also have hero worships. They try to identify with somebody and try to imitate them. And these are the stages of growth, and it is normal, it is absolutely normal to happen. But guide them, because sometimes what happens, children demand for things which are beyond the family control. They do not realize the value of money at this time. So whatever they say look nice and good, they always demand. But as parents, you must explain to the children whether it is feasible for you. Is it within your budget to get these things? Explain to them, but in a manner that the child understands. But don't reprimand him and put him down so badly that they get, develop hatred towards the parents. Now, I can relate to you one example here. One parent, he came and told, ma'am, I spent all my earnings on my child's trip to the Europe. I said, what happened? No, everybody in the class, they decided to go, and my child also wanted to go for Europe trip, and I'm not earning so much to, I had kept some money for my child's, for the education. But, my child is so adamant, he started talking to us, he's not eating food. So in order to make my child happy, I have paid for this Europe trip. See, trips will come often. How I'm going to convince my child is more important. If you're not able to convince your child, have you taken help from outside? That is very important. If you're not capable of supporting or convincing your own child, don't hesitate to take external help. There are people who are trained, who are qualified, who are experienced to guide others. Reach out to them. Maybe you would have saved that amount what you have spent on them. It is not necessary every trips that we organize in the school, our children need to go. Selected children are there who are capable of going, they will go. So we have to take certain decision at certain time. Emotional turbulence. Very, anybody can make out during adolescence, the emotional burst out. Now, the release of different types of hormones during these stages of adolescence cause emotional sensitivity, the outburst, the negative moods. Young people may feel very angry. Sometimes they get very embarrassed. They get overwhelmed more often than usual. What happened? They may also struggle to deal with insensitive peers, because the peers are also of their age. They may not be so sensitive like the others. Sometimes as family members also, we pass on comments. Sometimes we as parents discuss certain issues of our children with every family members without even realizing that I'm affecting my child's emotional quotient. Sometimes we discuss with our friends. Sometimes we as teachers discuss certain children problems across in the bus where we are traveling or in the staff room. We need to be very, very sensitive where we are discussing, what we are discussing. If the emotional turbulence is not handled with care, then the child will get into depression. So we have to be very, very careful. I gave you an example of the child initially, what happens. She had made a video, but her peers were not sensitive enough towards singing. Of course, the first time a video is put up there, instead of appreciating, somebody makes a negative comment. She was emotionally totally disturbed. So there was nobody, even back home, as parents, they were not able to understand her problem and guide her accordingly. Luckily she contacted me. I was able to help the child out gradually. But what happens if you're not done? Child would have gotten to, giving up on her singing and gradually got into some kind of a depression. Increased independence. During the time of adolescent, children expect they want full independence. They feel that they are grown. This is the time, whatever parents say they do not like. They feel the parents are wrong, teachers are wrong. What their friends are saying is correct. And, as they leave the childhood and enter the adulthood, they form different opinions and the ideas about the world. They also develop their own particular preference, certain wants, the desires, which are separate from the desires of their family and friends. Sometimes parents in the family, they want to go to one particular place, but he as an adult, he doesn't want to go. You want to go for some family functions and you're calling your adolescent child to come and join the function. He says, no, I don't want to come. You get angry. You start shouting at him. He shouts at you, unpleasant in the house. But when the child was small, have you taken him continuously for the family functions? Many times you would have said, oh, he's very small, don't want, he's such a troublesome for there. I have to run behind him or I have to take care of him. He would, you don't take him. So you're not created a habitual formation in the habit formation with your child. And now suddenly you're saying you're grown up, you come with me, I want to take you out. And the child will hate coming, especially they don't like to come to the friends and weddings and the friends or functions or weddings and things like that. They like to spend more time with their friends. Anytime you tell them, you call your friends or go out with your friends at any time. They prefer to have different type of food. They like to have pizzas, the burgers, they like to order food online, and they want to order the other items online, which are easily available these days. And because they do not realize the value, when you order out, you may get good discount, but at the same time, the number increases because there is a discount. And very often, since it's easily available, the order, frequency of the order also may go up. This newfound independence can often result in conflict, particularly when the teenagers want their needs are against the needs of the family members. Now, teenagers also, they become aware of what are happening in the society. They are more aware of politically what is happening. They are into the habit of reading. If not holding a newspaper and reading in the hand, they have their phones, they listen to the news, they converse with their friends or their elders. They know what's happening around the world. They form their own opinions. They form their own opinions against any injustice that is caused. So many cases are happening, we're getting to read. And of course, our adolescents forming their own opinions. And this one we can see whenever we organize, model United Nations, sessions or parliament sessions for these children where they debate and discuss these things. And, which is a good thing that children are involving themselves in these discussions. The peer pressure, which is very, very essential. There's a lot of peer pressure, which we as parents and teachers must understand. The peer influences a lot at this time, and the peer pressure is normal during the adolescence. Now, the peer pressure is a direct influence of the people on peers. Now, adolescents usually they worry about fitting into the groups. They go out to any extent to be recognized with their peer groups. These adolescents like to enjoy, spending time together. I know what happened when they spend time together. That somebody in the group can bring a cigarette and they start smoking. They light one cigarette and the same cigarette is, put in everybody's mouth and it is passed on to the other members in the group. And suppose somebody refuses to smoke in that particular group and, they will not consider him as a fit to the group and they may put him out of the group. So here children are forced to get into smoking. Similarly, getting into the habits of drinking, sometimes they may have some drinks and they drink and pass it on. So if you're in the group, to be a part of the group, you are forced to drink and form gradually that get into a habit of drinking and taking drugs and so on. During this time, you need to support your child to recognize the peer pressure. Show them how they can say no in your group. Teach them the tactics and techniques. How do they say no in a polite way? So you must also tell them in case they have any difficulty to talk to you, because at this time, what happened, many children, they do not go and tell their parents. Rather, they prefer to go and tell their counselor in school or any subject teacher whom they feel comfortable to talk to. They will disclose that. At that time, that particular teacher must be so proactive and act immediately and help out the child to come out of this. It is not that everybody, all the peers are into smoking and drinking and taking drugs. No, there is a certain group of students who are getting into this. So we must help them to come out of this or not to get into the habit of doing this. I was referred a case here, a student of standard 10, where the child was not regular to school and, does not show any interest in the class. He was sleeping in the class during the teaching period and so on. Gradually, I got into the conversation with the child and the parent, and I told the parent to observe the child very closely in the house and monitor the child's regular sleeping pattern. This child lives in an apartment, and later the father comes and tell me, ma'am, I have monitored my child and he gets up in the night at 1 o'clock and he goes out. I said, where he goes? He goes and meets another group of students who are engineering students and, they are into drinking and taking drugs. And he found his child doing this. And it's such a shock for the parent to accept it. But I went on counseling the parent. I said, definitely it is a rude shock. You should have, the habit formation needs to be done when the children are small. Monitoring needs to have done, which is not done initially. Now the situation has gone beyond our control. Now you have to handle the child in a different way. He definitely requires rehabilitation center. You require an external support. Please reach out to them and correct the child. Child was in 10th standard. They brought him to give the exam. Somehow he managed to give the exam. And before the results were out, what happened? There is an argument in the family and a fight between the father and the son. This said the child did not accept whatever the father said. And late night, he goes up to the terrace, 13th floor, jumps and dies. Very, very, very sad situation when the results have come out and the child is passed. But what happened to this child? Where we have gone wrong as parents, we need to ponder over. Cyber risks. Now, adolescents are very highly exposed, to these gadgets and internet these days. Apart from numerous benefits that the internet provides us, there are some risks which we must be aware of. I hope you all remember the Blue Whale story, which was they initially, luckily, the children, they got addicted so badly, and luckily it is banned now. And the PUBG was another. I think now even that game has been removed, thanks to the authorities who realized the, bad effect of these games. There are other, kind of risks like cyberbullying. The initial story that I have told is also can come under cyberbullying, where the children are passing negative comments about this particular chat. That also can be a cyberbullying. Putting some anonymous sharing for photographs. They, when they're in a happy mood or in the partying, they take the photograph and anonymously share with the others. Hacking the information. The hackers are all around. In fact, yesterday we had organized a session on cyberbullying, cyber safety for Bangalore Sahodaya school students. And they had given some instances where we post a picture, I have gone for a party, and they give a location and they give the name and the address, and how the hackers track this, and they try to hack your bank account, or take your pictures and misuse them and things like that. Then we also have sexting. Sexting is where the children can post some sex related messages, to derive pleasure, where they just share the messages with their opposite sex or their own sex to derive pleasure. So these are some of the things which we need to be aware of. Of course, children know much more about these things, because these things are all available for them in the net to reach out. But we as adults, are we aware of these things? That is very important. Body image and self-esteem. Adolescents are in the process of identifying and understanding themselves and the world around them. They're also in the process of creating identity for themselves and understanding their changing in body. They want to, I told you, they at this age where they try to join the gym and develop muscle, they do join the sports, so that they will have the physique and figure, or, sometimes they get into modeling at this stage, because they know they're really looking good and they try to project their image. And today, social media also plays a critical role with the adolescents seeking validation from their friends through likes, because whenever they post something, they always want to have more likes, and that is how they feel that they are more famous. Whatever photographs, whatever articles that they've written, the more number of likes, they feel good about it, and they feel that they're more famous. Adolescents with a poor body image, it is not that all the adolescents are with good body image, but there are certain some students, with the body image is very, very, not attractive at all. Maybe because they're not eating the food that they're supposed to have, the healthy food, or they're not into exercising regularly, or not conscious about their diet that they take, or these children, what happened, they become very moody, they avoid all the social situations, and they assume that they are not fit to be appearing in the public, because their body image doesn't match their age. So they become a little hesitant, and they get into the cocoon. The parental pressure and the academic stress, very, very important, and this is one of my favorite topics. A lot of studies have proven to show that children undergo a lot of stress due to academic adjustment and parental pressure. For getting admissions in well-known colleges and institutes, or to obtain scholarships, or to satisfy parents' desire, children are getting burnt from both the ends. Regular long hours of coaching classes, preparing for their regular test, school studies, too much in a plate for children to swallow. Every time we push our children to achieve for best results without even understanding the capacity of the child. This kind of, forceful learning will trigger high level of stress, and children will develop withdrawal symptoms. All will not be able to sail smoothly in that storm. I know a child who was registered for Standard 10 board exams and did not appear, for it developed a high level of anxiety, which led to hospitalization. A brilliant boy, without even studying, he would have scored 98% in Standard 10, but he was scared whether he'll be able to come out with that, result, which will satisfy the parental expectation. The father, a gold medalist from IIT, rank holder, and there was a lot of expectation from home. Regular talks and discussions in the family was around this, that you need to be a topper, you need to be a gold medalist kind of a thing. First year was wasted because child was not able to appear for the exam. The child was registered again for the second year. Same story repeated. Fear did not allow him to appear for the exams. Year 2 went by. Parents were helpless. Now they want the child just to appear for the exam and clear the exam. They're not bothered what marks, what score the child is going to get. Now again, the child has been registered for the third time. Continuous counseling is going on. Hope is able to clear the test at least this time. Meantime, to be on the safer side, the child was encouraged to register for open schooling for 10th standard examination. And he registered and he did his internal papers very well. And for the board exam, due to COVID this time, there were no exams. They took average and did promotion for all the children. So luckily, this child under open schooling has also cleared 10th standard. But the child desires to answer CBSE exams. So he's waiting to answer his exams in the month of March, April, whenever the exams are happening. So let us keep this child in prayers and let him do his exams very well and come out with flying colors. So parental pressure is tremendous on children, at times because of societal pressure. What the society speaks about my child, that is what we are concerned about. That is what we are bothered about. What my neighbor will ask. I'm always concerned about what my neighboring child does. What is the marks he has got? I'm not bothered about my child. When you have your own child, let us focus about our own child. Each individual child is different. Each person who is born in this world is different with different capacities. Let us not compare and contrast these two individuals. Let us respect God individuals. Now, what can we do as adults to help these adolescents? Help your child anticipate changes. And in totality, I'm telling as an adolescent, you have to help your child anticipate the changes in his body, learn about puberty and explain what is ahead for them. Reassure them that physical changes and emerging sexuality is a part of a normal life. Tell them everybody feels the same, everybody undergoes, but there are different stages in life, there's a fixed age for different stages. There are certain things that are legally allowed. So explain all these things to the children, they'll be able to understand in a much better way. Start early conversations about other important topics. You need to, maintain an open communication about healthy relationships, about sex, sexuality, consent, and about the safety as well. Keep conversation with your child positive. Point out your child's strength often. It is said you need to reprimand the child privately and praise your child publicly. Never speak negative feelings or difficulties of your child with everybody. Speak good about your child with others. Let the child feel that you are giving that boost, the moral support always. If you give that kind of a support, the child will come to you first rather than going to anybody. So dear parents and teachers, you need to be the first person to give that kind of a confidence to the students or to the child whom you handle. Be supportive and set clear limits. Be reasonable to them. Explain at every stage, why are you saying that? Have reasonable expectations. Communicate to them very, very clearly. And, encourage them to use the media, not deprive them. But tell them this is the time that you should, this is the side that you need to go. Check on their behavior. I told you the behavior pattern sets up when the child is in the childhood. If you have not set up the pattern at that childhood level, you cannot expect miracle at the adolescent age. Child will continue behaving like that only, or it become very, stubborn and it become very worst. You need to discuss the risky behaviors and their consequences. Be assured to set the positive example for yourself. Talk to them, to the children about, the juvenile courts that are there, the police stations that are there. Tell them what are the consequences if they get into these wrong habits. What are the punishment that are there for them. Let them also realize. But while doing so, you need to honor their independence, their individuality. This is all part of moving into early childhood. Always remember or remind them, your child, that you are there as a parent. You are there as a teacher. Anytime, any difficulty to read immediately. An incident I want you all to ponder over. An adolescent son of a business family in a well-known town, he experienced helplessness. He was the only brother for two of his intelligent sisters. Being the youngest and the only son in the family, many expectations started pouring on him. He was a tall and handsome lad. He was very affectionate and he was loved by many people in that town. But academically, he faced many encounters. He could not perform well in his studies to satisfy the demanding parents. Blows followed by regular shoutings and insults were too much for him to bear. He had a good set of friends and he tried to manage to live in spite of academic hardships. Parental expectations was very high and he was forced to study and perform well in spite of his inability. A lot of pressure started mounting on him. He was not ready to face yet another day. The hardship was too much for him to bear. He decided to sleep and never to get up again. He took an overdose of tablets and went to sleep that night. A complete silence engulfed that house. We lost a good human being in the society due to parental pressure and academic hardships. Why can't we be sensitive enough to the problems of these adolescents? Can we not stop our adolescents from getting into depression? Can we not guide them to the other avenues that will help them to be successful? Are we so selfish as parents? Is societal status higher than our children's happiness? Leaving you all to ponder over these questions. I want to end with a quote. The adolescent years can feel like riding a roller coaster by maintaining a positive and respectful parent-child relationship during this period. Your family too can enjoy the ride. Thank you very much. Stop sharing my PPT. We have another 10 minutes more to go. So any questions to ask or anything you want to discuss, the floor is open for you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your informative session, Manila ma'am. I think we are all undergoing as parents, as teachers, this live events. As a parent, I could actually connect this very, very well. In fact, the incidents which you were quoting, the real incidents, were very heart-sobbing. Seriously, those are really heart-sobbing, which is hope never ever in any of our lives we will be looking at these things, because I think if we just train ourselves, as adults, how to manage this adolescent age, we will never see these incidents in future, ma'am. And all the adolescents clarification was very well explained. Especially we thought adolescence is only from age 13 to 15 or 18, but that was clarified very, very clearly, especially when it comes to early adolescence, middle adolescence, and late adolescence. And even we need to consider that until at the age of 21, they are called as adolescents. I think we took it very, very well now, this point of time. And it was very well explained. The clarity was excellent, seriously. And we could take each and every point what you gave it to us, ma'am. Especially managing the sensitive years, it's very, very difficult. But the way you explained it, I think as educators and as felicitators, we all can take it very, very smoothly. Thank you so much for this wonderful session, Manila ma'am. Thank you so much. I would
Thank you so much.
request, yes, ma'am, thank you. I would request the participants if they have any queries, if not, or any doubts, because I have few. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to delay.
Ma'am, hello, my name is Seema
Yes,
and I'm
ma'am.
from the management of IEM. Ma'am, first of all, congratulations to you. The first beginning is you have a mesmerizing voice. You actually took me to another world. I felt like I was living everything that you were saying. So to start with, so big round of applause for that, ma'am. Thank you so much for doing that magic to us. And one question that comes to my mind is, ma'am, that there is a hairline difference between a control and the freedom. How much to control and how much to let them free? Where to control and where to say no, you should not be doing that. How as a parent, how educated we are, but it is so difficult for us to understand where do we give them freedom and where do we control them. And as a parent, do you as an educator, ma'am, do you have any advice on that?
Yes, definitely. I did mention also the behaviors what we're seeing in the adolescent age are formed when the children are small. As a child, have you petted and pampered your child and let him do whatever he wants? When some guests come to your house, have you, trained your child how to respect the guest, to wish the child, the guest, and give that kind of a respect? Now, when some guest comes, when a child is an adolescent, and you expect them to say, good evening or, namaste or whatever it is. If you have not formed the habit when the child is small, you cannot expect the thing. So where is the discipline goes? Now, what happens, we have seen in the adolescence, in the childhood, many parents, they leave the, chain very loose. They say, oh, the child is still small. No, child may be small, but he observes you. He observes you as an adolescent, as an adult. So he tries to gauge you and understands how much you can control him. So that is how they play up with you when they're adolescent. Now, when you're small, there are some cases here when children are 5th, 6th, 7th standard, they're allowed to go out with their friends, maybe to eat out in the hotel or to the malls and things like that. Is that an age of the student to go out with the friends? No. As a parent, you take the child. You want to meet the friends in the mall, you as a parent go, leave the child in the mall, you tell them, I'll be here, you finish seeing the mall, come back at this time, or call me when you're finished, I'll come and pick you up. But you are so busy with your work, or you are so confident with your child, you let the child go. Sometimes children don't turn back home before 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, come back at 9 o'clock. You cannot even question that child because earlier you have allowed him to go. But at adolescent age, how can you allow? He will not listen to you. He will come at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And if you question, he will back answer you. Because that is the age where the children identify with their peers. They say when the other peer is allowed to go home at 9 o'clock, why not me? Okay. So in every household, this is the problem. So age is very, very important, crucial for learning behaviors. So right from childhood, we must develop this habit formation, because this one, what habit formation we develop, we have seen children growing long hairs, fancy haircut. Why? As a child, we allowed him. We have seen in our own schools or your own in our homes, small juttu from behind or fancy haircut on the side or beard here, so awkward looking, or wearing a pant below the hip, belt there. See, your own child, you will feel bad to look at your own child when he dresses up like that. But who has triggered that? It is you, because you're not correct to your child when you're small. You have allowed him to do all the fancy things because child was looking very nice. You teach the child when he is young. So gradually child will, okay, this is what my parents want. They will not accept it. Okay, they will learn, they will understand. And going out with the friends, there is nothing wrong at all. Take them. They also need to go out. They need to watch a movie. Please take them out. Allow them to go, but give them the fixed timing. You need to trust your children. Give them the fixed timing. And what is more important during the adolescence, the conversation, open conversation in the house. How much time do you all spend together? It is not only at the dining table. There are in houses, not even once they meet together. So at least during dinner time, you must make it a point where all of us sit together, eat dinner together, and have pleasant conversation and not fighting and arguing with each other. Morning, of course, all of us are busy with their own work, different timings you have for breakfast and lunch. Afternoon, we don't meet at all. Night, we have to meet together and have dinner together. Teach the children, teach them, or you have to introduce them. There's something called God. Tell them there is a power in the world. We may worship in different forms, but there is one power, one God. Teach them and introduce them when they are small. And this habit formation will go on as the children grow up. And the children who have the fear of God will not go wrong at all. That much of trust and faith you can have. So, bring the children towards God. Don't make them so spiritual. Don't force them to say prayers for hours together. Just 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You get into the habit. Children will gradually get into their own habit of saying prayers later on. Night before going to bed. Ask them, thank God for the beautiful day that they have given. Morning to get a good, and pray, thank, God for giving parents, friends, families, now the calamity that is happening. Asking God for, teach the children how to do small prayers. If you go on forcing them to do long prayers, they will hate. So don't do that. Short. And if they don't want, don't force them. But use the right time and method to bring that in, and gradually you have to do it. So forcibly, if you
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. I have a doubt. Before the age of 10, will they behave like this? Will they feel like this?
They will, suppose if they're experiencing what happens when the kids are small. I know all our adults here, that's why I'm discussing here. I've heard children in kindergarten, they come and they sleep with the parents, okay, in the same bedroom. But parents as adults, they don't realize, they think that kids are very small, they're not watching us or they're not listening to us. They must be in deep sleep. But children observe what all things you do. Children have come and spoken to us. We contact the parents and tell them, see, these things happen, be very careful. So many a times, children watch you live. That time so many questions come to their mind. You have your internet, click of a button, whatever you want, children can watch any pornographic movies. Anything they can watch. So already children have got into this. So to avoid this, you need to have a lot of conversation with the children. You need to know what are the sites the child did. You can go back to the history and check what the site the child has gone through. For that, you should know how to check the history. So you need to be very, very watchful, at least at the age of 10, because habit formation happens at that time. And you can be very, very watchful, because that time, if you shout at your child will listen to you. But when you're shouting at the child at the time of adolescence, he will not. He will revolt. So when the child is small, doesn't matter if you raise your voice or give one, doesn't matter. He will listen to you. But remember, don't do this in front of your audience. It should be done privately, because children at any age, they have their own egos. They don't like to accept anybody hitting or shouting in front of others.
Can I add one more point?
Please, please.
It's always freedom with responsible, right? When
It is always
freedom with responsible. When the freedom is given.
Freedom with responsibility, yes. It is a freedom with responsibility. You give freedom, at the same time, responsibility also needs to be there with us. Even see, for us as teachers in the school, the principal gives freedom for everybody to deal with the class the way you want. You have your entire class for yourself, the way you want. You teach what is good for the children. The moment you have gone wrong somewhere, then the principal will hold by you. So it is a freedom that is given. Respect that and do it. And as adults, we must understand, always we expect the children to behave the way we are behaving. That is not the way. To give a simple example, recently, two good friends, I'll quickly finish. I know the time is up. There were two good friends. they were playing in the same apartment they stay. And in fact, one of the friend, took some nice toy which he had, and he hid it. In fact, he hid it in a not nice manner. In fact, he threw it in one corner and it was not found. And apparently in the apartment, they start looking for it, and they have the camera, they noticed and all that. And they identified this child. The moment it identified, what did the parent do? They called the child and, shouted at him or gave him a blow. I said, go and say sorry to this child and come. And he was the only child, and shouted so badly. Of course, the child made a mistake. You shouted at the child, but you go and say sorry in that house, is something where the child got scared to go alone. He went, but he did not go to the house. He went out of the apartment and he did not come back for hours. Then the search started, and it seems the child was found after 5 hours. Where did the child go? Why didn't he come back to the house? Because he did not get any confidence and support with his own parents. He said best is to go out. Now, what mistake the parent has done here? The mistake the parent has done is making the child go alone and get into that crocodile pool of facing the parents of the other child. Which child will have that confidence? The parent should have said, you made a mistake, doesn't matter. Let's go together. We'll go and say sorry to him because he's also your friend. You need to continue playing with him. Come, let's go and say sorry. That should have been the approach, not the other. So thank you so much for giving this patient hearing for my session. And, I hope, the points that we discussed, I'm sure will go to help you in long run in shaping the personality of the adolescents. Thank you so much, and God bless all.